the right time, so that you do not give fertilizer once farmers have planted, or give the CAN for top dressing when the rains are gone. So the timely giving of inputs or seeds, which must also be matched by a way we are able to forecast and be able to monitor weather patterns, will be able to help us increase productivity, and in that way, Mr. Speaker, I think we'll be able to get the fund on our table.
Thank you, Honorable Linturi. And now,
Chair, there is a clarification. There is a question regarding
members, look at the clock.
It's okay, Chair. We just need to do this for the purpose of this vetting. I asked Honorable Linturi regarding agricultural extension officers vis-a-vis the devolved function of agriculture in the county government. And I believe you need to give us the clear policy the ministry will come up with, whether we are going to have agricultural officers commission.
My Parethram thing.
And Chair,
the Parethram.
Chair, I can answer them together. I asked about taking farm inputs, specifically the fertilizer, closer to the farmer in the rural village. What policy is government going to put in place to ensure there is a depot in every sub-county, Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Chair, can I add on something?
Wow.
Honorable Linturi, I think we should also encourage our farmers to start using manure, what we used to do when we were young. Instead of using fertilizer, we do organic.
Chair, clarification also on the one issue. Chair, it will be very absurd if the nominee lives here without saying anything about fish also. Say something about fish. Please, fish.
Got question, but he never answered.
Mr. Speaker,
You have 2 minutes to attend to all those issues.
Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with the Mheshimiwa.
And you've got it.
Yes, agricultural extension officers.
Taking subsidized fertilizer and seeds closer to the farmers.
Yes.
And then Parethram.
Pyrethrum and fish.
Mr. Speaker.
And the use of manure as opposed to petrochemical-based fertilizers.
Number one, that's a very good proposal from Mukami, and farmers must listen. If you keep more livestock, whether it's poultry, cows, goats, that will be the best excellent manure to use for our crops, because they are safe, better than even the fertilizer we are talking about. Number two, agricultural extension officers, that's where we need to go. People require education. We need to educate our farmers on what we need to do. Mr. Speaker, when I was running as governor, in fact, there is no single meeting I didn't go talking about why it is important to employ extension officers. Even when I sit with the governors, I want to persuade them to have agricultural extension officers, because these extension officers can be given performance matrices on how much food should be produced in a certain particular piece of land, on by how many farmers, to increase productivity so that we are food secure. So I agree, I support it 100%, and I am sure this can be done. It is achievable and will not succeed easily. We do not tap. I also want to tell you that I think somewhere, and why we are feeling this problem, is that the Ministry of Agriculture stopped employing these agricultural extension officers some time ago. I think like almost 10 years ago, they've not been employing. And even you look at the staff at the ministry, they are quite old. So we will be coming to you so that at least you can also allocate some budget for us to be able to start recruiting members to that, so that, extension officers, to be able to beef up our education and training capacities to the farmers. Mr. Speaker, Emase talked about what we intend to do to ensure that fertilizer and seeds are taken closer to the people. Let me also commit that Kenya Seed Company, NDC, whose farms are used for multiplication of seeds, we are going to discuss that can be able to produce more, and whatever support is required. Fertilizer and getting closer to the people, Mr. Speaker, we'll have either to get it done. You know, we have national cereals and produce boards, but they are not all over. This is one of the areas where we can be able to keep our fertilizer. But I think it's not because of the system that we want to use to avoid the abuse and the cartels. Probably we will have got to sit down and discuss with the agrovets on how we can be able to manage those stocks so that they can also be our owning area, our owning stores for the farmers that we want is to support this kind of program. But you know, if we are to continue putting up more national cereals and produce bonds for purposes of getting very close to the location or to either the sub-location level requires huge resources. So we'll have to see how to balance our priorities, because it is important that is done, or how we can partner with the county governments to ensure once fertilizer or seeds are delivered to the nearest depot of National Cereals and Produce Board, then they're able to support in the transfer or in the delivery chain, so that farmers can be able to get their fertilizer at the nearest points possible. Any other question?
Pyrethrum and fish.
Mr. Speaker, I think fish is another serious economic activity in this country. And Juliet, I won't tell you, Mary is producing more fish than Kisumu or your area now. We are in it. Like we are doing a lot of fish, and fish is transforming people. I will be talking fish farming. I will be talking to my counterpart, Muvuria, who is now in charge of the blue economy docket, where that one is, and see how to support farmers. One is the production of fingerlings, so that as we encourage our farmers to keep fish ponds, then we also have the right species that can be able to do best in trying to support our food chain, because fish is food just like any other. And the other pyrethrum, you spoke about pyrethrum, but Gekaria spoke about pyrethrum. I think there are areas in this country where pyrethrum grows, and pyrethrum, I think, is raw material of pesticides that we require for, we buy a lot of pesticide to preserve our seeds and our food. And I think time has come when we really have to sit down and see how to empower farmers, take back to them, to the farmers, to do pyrethrum, because is a plant, is a crop that is so beneficial to our economy. I will inviting you, Mheshimiwa Ikaria, to share more thoughts and ideas on how this can be done, because just like I'm saying before, that we are going to map out the country to have crops in data on where we have crops growing best in whatever county, so that in terms of disseminating information, then it's part of the thing that we need to be telling our farmers, so that they don't do a try and error thing. And I'm sure this is available. It is possible.
Thank you, Honorable Linturi. I'll give you 3 minutes.
I want to thank this committee for giving me an hearing, and I
have given you 2.5 hours. All your colleagues have been having 90 minutes.
I think I thank you, Speaker, for that magnanimity, and probably say it's because of the docket that I serve, because it's so critical to the country. I want to ask you and persuade you that in your wisdom, Mr. Speaker, that this country requires all of us. The arms of government must work together, must work in tandem, and I am willing and ready to submit to the authority of this House in making sure that the legislation that we propose, the ideas that you come with, will go a long way in improving food productivity, in making Kenya food secure. If I find favor in your wisdom, and approve me as the nominee to take the position of CS Agriculture. I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Frankline Mithika Linturi. I'll now, before releasing you, advise you to engage with the clerk's office. They need some documentation from you before you leave the precincts of this county hall. Sergeant, you may show the honorable nominee the way out.
Frankline Mithika Linturi akiondoka hapo kikaangoni, amechukua takriban saa 2:30 kujieleza mbele ya kamati ufahafu wake na uwezo wake wa kuhudumu